Good morning and welcome to Moopsy in the Morning for August the 16th, 2024. And Mom, how are you guys doing? I think I just did something stupid. Let's see if I just got stupid. No, not as stupid as I thought. For some reason I thought I was transwarping right back to where I was. But I actually wanted to go over here and go to New Tholia as opposed to New Kara. And get myself some Tholians for breakfast. Crunchy, crunchy Tholians. Good morning, Chris.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm very well rested and chilling and trying
Oh.
not to die in the heat. We have a
Oh, is it hot there?
bloody heat wave that is
Ah.
well, you see. Comparing would be something in the 89,
Oh.
90-ish Fahrenheit.
Well, Toasty, that's not horrible, at least.
I mean, this is horrible for our time. This is terrible for us, and then the city even worse. It's extremely dry. It hasn't rained for like weeks. And
Yeah. We actually got our first rain last night in like 3 weeks. So I'm sitting here kind of watching the windows, making sure it doesn't decide it's going to run inside the house and rain on everything. Oh, that's not fun. That's what I want. But yeah, we started getting rain while I was walking the dogs yesterday, of course.
Of course. Yeah, that's a rule. If you have dogs, the rain will start when you're out with your dogs.
And as far away from home as possible. We get both things.
Or somewhere enough that even if you start returning, you'll get wet on the way back.
No, we got soaked.
And it stops when you go back home.
Yeah, it kind of did, but then it started up seriously shortly after that. And like I said, we need the rain.
Yeah, still, I get it. I love the rain. I don't mind it, but not when I will not have it.
Oh, it could be worse, but I'm going to take this rain. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm killing a few Tholians for my breakfast here.
For breakfast? Yeah.
Yes, you know, crunchy, crispy Tholians.
Speaking of crunchy, crispy, I enjoyed the new Alien movie.
The new which movie?
The new Alien movie, Alien Romulus.
Ah, yes, that's right. You said you were going to go see that.
It literally was on my way to the movie theater when you were live yesterday. So that's why I wasn't there and I didn't type anything.
Well, how dare you have a real life that doesn't include us?
I'm sorry, I'll never do that again.
Well, we went to see Pacific Rim on Tuesday. The IMAX in downtown Indianapolis at the State Museum has, during weeknights, they show classic movies, like 2 nights a week. They also show first-run stuff, but this was their classic movie, and it's like, oh, Pacific Rim on an IMAX. I'm a happy mom. So I took the boys out to see it.
Thing is, I always had an impression that 4DX movies are like, you have the glasses and you have 3D vision.
You?
That one didn't have it.
Oh.
Like, it was just traditionally on the big screen and everything, and the chairs were moving along with the camera movements. We had all the other effects, but there wasn't a 3D, and I'm wondering whether this was some oversight, or maybe that was just they didn't shot this movie in 3D or something. They didn't have any specific shots that, you know, you kind of see it. When you see the first Avatar, you kind of felt that, oh yeah, this has definitely been shot directly for 3D, because there is stuff like moving very closely and it's blurred in front of the camera, stuff like this that is trying to immerse you in it, and that movie didn't have that kind of stuff. It was just, it had camera pans and stuff like that, and it did kind of share the three-dimensional aspect of stuff, but it didn't like feel like it was deliberately shot just to showcase 3D. So I'm thinking perhaps this movie didn't have it, but honestly, the other stuff that's happening, the blows of air, the smells, the water that is spattering all over you when stuff is happening. That got me so immersed, I literally was jumping in my chair, and I was like, oh my god, I'm starting to feel scared.
Yeah, yeah. That's
I
why I
mean, I like
don't watch
horrors.
Alien. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I yeah, I get it. I just love horrors. I just love the thrill. I love the adrenaline that it gives you. So I enjoyed it quite much, and the movie was not bad. I'm actually surprised that they didn't Ridley Scott returned to the franchise to 20 plus years or
Mm-hmm.
something, like doing the Prometheus and the Covenant, which were they had beautiful visuals, absolutely top-notch acting, and the worst writing you could ever find in the movie. Like the stuff that they were doing, I'm sorry, even Star Trek has this, and Star Trek's been present for a bit longer than Alien franchise, so that's unforgivable. When you're on an alien planet, you don't know if there are microbes, stuff
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
affect
yeah.
you. You don't take off your helmets.
Oh yeah.
You don't go around poking stuff, touching everything, interacting with an alien entity that rises from from water that looks like a snake. They did all of that and more, and
Oh,
I'm
I know.
like, didn't I remember the first Alien film where like they had quarantine protocols, and that film was shot in 1979, right? It was way before we even understood what's happening in space and stuff like that. It was still pure science fiction in that regard about any protocols because we didn't really have that. We haven't gone that far to have like fully realized ISS stuff and things like this.
Well,
So I'm like, they had protocols even in the first film that
they
Ridley
had
Scott also shot.
protocols when people went to the moon for the first time. Those guys came back and they were in isolation because they had no
Yeah,
clue if they're going to come back with something.
yeah, but we have no clue where we have no thing because that was more of a precautionary
Yeah.
thing, right? And meanwhile, it's like 100 years in the future, and these people are like poking and prodding everything, interacting with it, taking their helmets off, breathing in what God knows what stuff
Oh yeah.
in, and they felt and that was actually the thing that got them into trouble, and they were like, still, there's no protocols in place, and I'm like, excuse me, like, how are you spacefaring? How are you creating colonies in space if you're that daft stupid? Like, God, I hated those movies. I think Ridley Scott should be banned from touching the franchise ever again for just making these two films. They are beautifully shot. I can't deny them that. Prometheus isn't even a horror film. It's a If it wasn't connected to the aliens deliberately at certain points, it could have been a very good science fiction movie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the stupidity they're doing, because sometimes you just lose yourself in the sense of discovery or whatever. And that would have been a great movie, but it's a terrible film that introduces you to the franchise because it just makes all the mistakes that they already knew not to make in the first movie shot 30 plus years before. So I'm like, excuse me, Ridley, what are you doing? But this one, because it didn't have Ridley Scott outside of him just being the producer, so someone who pays the money, and he doesn't have like direct influence on the film itself. This felt like a combination of the first two Alien films. And it's not like copying them and pasting them directly, but like taking the best aspects from the first film, which was the horror aspect,
Yeah.
taking the action stuff that went from the second film that Cameron did, and then blended it up in a way that it actually made this again feeling fresh. Like they didn't reinvent the wheel, of course, but it just felt like this creature can still be scary, and it can be still made to be scary, the way everything is shot. And they had a beautiful addition of the tie-ins into the first film, and they had tie-ins into Alien Isolation, which was a game set in like between the first two movies, between them, which actually a lot of people consider canon. And actually, the director was highly influenced by that game as well. He said it himself. Even placed Easter eggs that people who knew the game knew that well, stuff is gonna happen because they saw something that in the game is quite connected to stuff happening very shortly. So, yeah, it was such a good film. It was longer than I expected. I think it's running at least 2 hours.
Yep. I think a little bit more too.
Yeah, at least 2 hours because it was like, yeah, it started around 1 night time and we left, and
Ooh.
then it finished literally at 3. So it
Oh,
was
that's not too bad.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I lost the track of time. I lost the track of time. I enjoyed it so much. I was like, wow, they actually did it. I mean, I didn't like one element, what kind of was it it resembled the Prometheus a little bit too much at one point. But other than that, I'm not gonna cross the entire movie because everything about the film, the characters, the protagonists, the actors, they got to have totally brand new young crew.
Well, that
And
works with
so
the storyline, which is young and stupid.
I mean, it's not about even them being young. I mean, yeah, sure, young and stupid is an aspect there, but it's like they feel fresh. You don't
Oh yeah, no argument there. I just
when
meant
they
in
when
terms of the character that they're doing. They have to go in with a degree of stupid, desperate, young, because
yeah,
otherwise it doesn't really
desperation
work.
is a thing there, and I like that they actually showed why they're desperate. It wasn't just like, oh, they just seem that they're desperate because it's being said. It was rather
Mm-hmm.
showed why
Right.
are they desperate.
Oh yeah.
And I like that aspect because we actually got to see life in the colony in that reality. So it actually showed how people function in those colonies. They're literally just. It's a good criticism of corporations, and again, that's the premise of the entire franchise. Really, it's a
Mm-hmm.
horror, but it actually is trying to tell that corporations equals bad, evil. They will use you as slave labor. They will not care about your lives.
Yep.
You gotta do save yourself.
You
They don't
have
care
that
about the
100%
corporation.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the premise of the franchise is literally about that, and they still kept it, and they even like emphasized it even better because it was shown that yeah, the main protagonist is just like she's done her quota in something, and now she's eligible to go to a different planet. And when she was at the requisition bureau thingy, we literally saw the monitor of the person behind the desk, seeing the just pushing a button, and the quota changed.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly she's no longer eligible, and she has 5, 6 years in the mines now scheduled. So like, yeah, you're literally screwed. But the way it was actually shown, and the reason why they decide to embark on a journey that is probably going to be dangerous, but they still want to do it because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They already know that their lives are screwed if they stay. And wow, the ideas about it, the emphasizing, and the cinematography of that film, sets, props, practical effects. The only CGI I noticed, which was quite obvious, outside of like outside stuff that was in the showing the ship and the stations and stuff like that, would probably be one of the androids. But that was because they tried to tie him in into you. You don't care about the story, do you? Like you're
Well,
not
I
gonna
know the
get
story.
spoiled.
I mean, I've
You
seen the.
remember You remember the first film,
Uh
the
huh.
android that turns out to
Right.
be evil. He's playing
John
by
Hurt.
Ian
Oh,
Holmes.
oh, sorry. I'm thinking John Hurt. He was the other character in it, but yeah.
Yeah, John Hurt is the one that actually gets the chest burster. He's the one that gets infected by the alien.
Yes, he does.
Ian Holmes plays the
Mm-hmm.
android that goes rogue, and they have brought him back.
He's
They
dead.
have used his. Yeah, they brought him back anyway. It was his voice, it was his face under the android.
Wow.
It was CGI'd, but it
I'm
was
sure.
definitely it was aiming at like showcasing that this series of androids that the more
Wow.
dedicated to research this creature were allocated, and they all looked the same. They had different names, but they all looked the same, and they were all like working in tie of Wayland Yutani's efforts to like bringing the creature and utilizing it for whatever ends. Initially, we thought, and that's actually a good building up of
Mm-hmm.
like giving us more info. Because initially it was thought that they're just going to use the alien for like some sort of military purpose and stuff like that. No, they were actually trying to tie in its DNA into humans' DNA if possible to make perfect organism that can
Oh, lovely.
withstand the difficulties of living in space. Because they realized that prolonged exposure to elements, conditions on all the colonies results in people growing more and more sick. So they decided to research a possibility of enhancing human genome with the DNA of the alien. Except that has gone way out of its way, and the android that has Ian Holmes's face is kind of cut in half because of an accident. He's kind of half
Jeez.
dead, but they reactivate him so they think he might help them, but he ends up to be the villain of the film.
Of course he does.
And but the way like the CGI was kind of half and half. It was kind of uncanny valley in different shots. Sometimes he looked spot on, sometimes he didn't. So that was the only CGI. It was kind of showing that clearly it's CGI. But other than that, I couldn't complain about. I mean, I'm not complaining even about that because I understand you can't get the face without making it CGI. The guy's been dead for like several years now.
Yeah, yeah.
They either use some archive footage, or
Oh,
which would be very difficult to like reutilize, or they just make him a CGI. And they did a good job at CGI. It was kind of something that Star Wars did.
it's
Well, it's Disney now, so they had probably the means and the know-how, so probably even enabled them
yeah,
a little bit better.
Disney.
Yeah. I mean,
Disney.
honestly, I'm surprised that Disney actually greenlit a movie
Yeah,
like that because it wasn't shying from showing gory stuff at all.
yeah.
Like, oh, the stuff that's been going on. I literally was just like, because of the spatter of the water happening during the scenes where stuff was splattering and it was blood, it was water, it was some particles we didn't know. And I
Oh,
was like, oh my god, I was closing my eyes and like covering my face because I was like, oh my god, I'm grossed out. That
yeah.
was so immersive, I can't believe it.
I'm grossed out and I wasn't there.
No, there was no cartoon bloody. It wasn't. The new movie wasn't cartoon bloody. The blood was really looking good and everything was really spot on. And the no, the no, you mean the splatter in
Yeah,
the cinema? No,
yeah.
gladly it was just water.
Well, thank goodness.
Can you imagine coming up out of the movie theater covered in red spatter like blood? Oh my god,
Ew, 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 ew. Oh, that's
that would
gross.
have been an ewish, yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be an ew.
Yeah, but still, the moments and the angle from which the water was spattering was so spot on towards how it was happening on the screen. I was like so immersed, I completely forgot I'm in a movie theater for a few
Wow.
moments. It was really great. Plus, the acidic blood of the
Yeah.
alien, right? They even gave the smell of it.
Oh,
Like
jeez.
when it was starting to burn through stuff, you could smell that weird chemical burning thing. It was gross, absolutely disgusting. But again, that was one of those few moments I completely lost myself in the film. It was like, wow, that was so cool. That
Uh,
was so cool.
Obi-Wan says, but they were cartoon bloody, not the boys splatter. I mean, my
Yeah,
dreams of Dark Empire live action died when Disney got. Yeah, Disney and valuable intellectual properties don't go together well.
Dreams of Dark Empire live action. What was Dark Empire? Oh, Dark Empire for Star Wars or
Yeah,
something? Oh, I didn't know about that.
yeah. The only reason we're ever going to get anything really fun out of Disney these days is when somebody really gets aggressive and says, "No, we're going to do this."
I mean, truth be told, the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, and now the Alien, which is receiving really good praise, and justly so. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking that they might actually be turning into making more adult-oriented stuff more easily now, seeing that this can be done if done properly.
Well, they are
Because, like,
they're
honestly,
fighting it, but I think the board of directors and the investors are going to go, "Hey, we're tired of losing $1 billion on these movies
that are
when
for
it's been."
everyone, but except for no one, literally, and like people don't enjoy them for what they are.
Let's see.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I think they might start seeing the light in terms of like, yeah, make a bit more grown-up stuff because people enjoy it and that actually returns money.
yeah. Well, I mean, making stuff that's oriented for kids is great. Make stuff that's oriented for kids. Don't make stuff that's kid based but oriented for adults. Like, this is the ideology we're going to adhere to for the next whatever.
Yeah,
Versus
yeah,
just make us some good movies. You can make good kid movies. They're good. Adults go to good kid movies.
yeah.
But adults want to go to movies too. And more people are not having kids. So you might want to think about making your product towards the market that's out there.
Yeah,
And
they have to like be on top of what market is expecting and what kind of demography they're trying
yeah,
to aim at.
well,
Because currently they're either marketing weird movies that are very weird, or they're
yes,
doing family stuff, which is Marvel slash Disney, and there's nothing in between. There is no genre cinema anymore. There's like science fiction is like more or less more prominent, but it's still very toned down. It's not going really at it. Like it doesn't have the same level that it used to do. Even if they made a movie like, oh, I don't know, what's that film that is kind of like it didn't receive well about that station. God, I can't remember the
The
title. And
station.
the spaceship station. I don't remember. It was like 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I'm
Even
not remembering it.
more than that. Well, actually, more than 20 years. It was in the
Ooh.
90s, I think. More than 30 years ago.
Jeez. Yeah, let's feel old. Let's all feel old right
Yeah,
now. Thank you.
I'm like, don't even get me started. I mean, actually, I started myself. Never mind. Anyway, I
Anyway,
don't.
good morning, fighter. Let's see. Oh, I stand corrected. Obi-Wan says it was The Boys, not, but Star Wars has a graphic novel. They've got dark content, yes, but Disney's issue is Bob Iger, in my opinion. He should
Yeah, the
not be
fact that
running
he
that
was
studio.
brought back,
Yeah, well, I think that
I
was,
can't stand it.
if I remember correctly, he left in a calculated move. This was all planned that he was going to step away and then come back as
Yeah.
the Disney savior. It didn't work that way.
Yeah, people like Iger should not be in the helm of anything that big, that prominent.
Yeah. He can stay with his little piddly stuff. He's good at that. But he shouldn't be making decisions.
Although I'm still holding it against them that they still keep Kathleen Kennedy.
Ugh. Maybe not for
After
too much
doing the-
longer.
I don't see her being outed at
Well-
any point.
Her contract is up for renewal next year. She did not get the raise she was looking for because of the disaster that was The Acolyte. And currently, the Ray movie that's scheduled for
Oh god, the sequel.
2025 hasn't even gone into. They don't even have a
Production.
script yet. The guy who's
Oh,
writing the
dear.
script, yeah, doesn't have that done.
An unfortunate situation. Well, I would be so devastated if Kathleen, after backstabbing
Oh, no.
George Lucas, would have been outed from Disney. That would have been such a tragedy. Not.
Yeah, really. Absolutely.
God, I detest that woman. And that she said that she's going to... Like, he trusted her with the franchise. Like, he gave her everything, including the notes. He actually got into the business because she was, like, with him.
Yeah. Way back in the day.
She rose to the position on his back. And now, like, and then, like, in 2015, when they did with the first Star Wars movie, that was the backstab that was seen by everybody who was involved. And everyone who knew Lucas knew that this isn't his Star Wars anymore. They literally just cut the ties and did the stuff that they wanted. I was just like, oh. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kathleen Kennedy, who's the... You know who she is. I don't have to tell you that. But anyway, she didn't get a raise, and she's not happy. And she's up
Oh,
for
dear.
a renewal of her contract next year. And unless they have something turning super profitable with Star
Well,
Wars, which is not
Andor
going
is
to happen.
coming, I think, but
Yeah.
Andor season 2 is coming, but I don't know how much that is her being just the exec and
Well,
about
she gets
Lani and
credit
the
for
others.
Andor because it's under her tutelage.
Yes.
But the problem is that the only thing that's been even mildly successful in the last few years with Star Wars is Andor. There hasn't been a lot going on.
How do we hit her with traffic? I don't know. Call her at the right moment when she's on crossing a street. I don't know.
She's not.
I know people like that cross the
stupid.
street. Really, they like. Anyway, do we shoot something?
Pardon?
Do we shoot something?
Oh yeah, we can shoot stuff.
Because I've got like 3 spacey thingies.
All
so-
I've got is repair hull in space at this point. I went down and did my crispy, crunchy Thillians first.
Yum.
Jumping back to the new Ray sequel, she talked
Oh,
Ray.
God.
What's her name? Who's the lady who plays Ray?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Into doing it, but apparently Daisy Ridley wasn't really thrilled with the idea of going back and doing it. They don't have a decent script. They don't have a script. And if they intend to be out next year, they need to be in production now. That's not going to happen.
Not without a script, although that didn't stop them from making the 3rd sequel film of the Star Wars.
Yeah, well, the argument is
Rise of Skywalker.
people don't want a sequel to this trilogy.
Because no one really liked this trilogy.
Exactly.
There's a handful of people who actually enjoyed it because they had no like. The funny thing is that people who did enjoy it are completely um they have nothing going for the originals because they've never seen them. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's an old stuff that we don't want to see even.
But
So as a standalone thing happening, the sequel trilogy kind of works because if you detach it from the previous stuff, it could maybe work a little bit. But the problem is that it kind of is still trying to attach itself to the original. So I still don't understand how people
I
just
think they would
disregard
have
the.
been better off picking some original characters, original topics, and an original script. But by immediately going into a remake of A New Hope, they kind of set themselves up for a disaster. Though what was that one called?
Well, blame J.J. Abrams
I'm
for
blaming
that
JJ
one.
on that one. Yeah.
He was responsible for the script.
Don't remake an old script. Start something new. You can do that. And I think that's a problem with a lot of
Abrams is a
IPs.
good cinematographer. He's not a good story writer.
Yeah.
They should really not give him the full reign over something that clearly doesn't have the competence to.
Good
It's not
morning,
the first
Obi-Wan.
time he's ruined a
Yep.
big franchise.
No, it's
Hello.
not. Won't be the last time, probably, because he's successful.
Well, I'm still hoping that someone might see the light on him. I know I'm naive.
Yeah, once Hollywood sees you've made one thing that's successful, they keep giving you more and more. M. Night Shyamalan, or whatever his name is, did great with Sixth Sense, and really hasn't had a tremendously successful movie since. He's had a couple of decent ones, but he's had some absolute bombs as well. And they don't seem to learn from that. He keeps getting movie projects.
The most depressing thing is that the same thing goes with Star Trek, really, because
Yeah.
Kurtzman is not a really good cinematographer. I mean, he's
not a good exec.
He's not a good storyteller.
No.
Every time he's attempted to tell a story outside of Star Trek, it was a flop. I'm still mind-boggled by someone like him being given a helm of such a big IP like Star Trek for such a long time, and he's like still sitting cozy and all that. Like, excuse me, do we have someone with competences for a change?
Please give us somebody.
Apparently
competent.
no. But who knows? Maybe the merger with whatever they're called, Skydance.
Skydance, yeah. Yeah,
might actually change things. They've already kicked off with dismantling the Paramount TV.
Right. All of them will now
thingy.
go under CBS Studios, so it's not like any of those productions are being affected. Just
No, Star Trek is not affected at all. But
yeah.
Maybe this is just the beginning of restructuring and revising who's worth keeping and who might actually go back to the, purgatory.
Obi-Wan, if you're talking, we can't hear you. I'm looking at your mic going live, but I'm not seeing anything happen.
I think I know why.
There you go. Hi.
Yep.
Hi.
Hello.
And
I was like, Chris, I 100% agree. That is exactly, I think, what's happening.
By the way, I'll give the language warning now. Language.
Yes.
Okay. So what are we doing?
Sorry.
Obi-Wan, are you in game? I didn't see you there.
I'm actually trying to help a buddy who just
no
rebuilt
problem.
his computer, or got a new computer, so I'm excited to help him out. But I think
Ooh.
all of his audio is broken, so he's trying to call me right now. I just wanted to interject on the Abrams Star Wars thing, which I think some people don't 100% know what happened, but I think most people do know that if they care enough. The second one was obviously ridiculous. That was literally just I'm pretty sure Disney interjecting and going, "Hey, we I think we want to go another direction," and everyone's like, "Well, I wrote a 3-movie story, and you guys are going to interrupt it with another director? Good luck."
More than that,
good luck.
The thing with Rian Johnson writing that script is he wrote it. It was one shot. He did
that guy
not
doesn't
edit
care about
it.
Star Wars either.
Yeah, he didn't even edit the
crazy.
script. It's his first draft on it is what they filmed, and I mean, I'm a rank amateur, and I know you don't do that.
I mean, you write a novel, even if it's fanfic or something, and you revise it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, excuse me.
Basic writing.
Basic writing 101. Rewrite.
Yeah,
Leave
exactly.
your work for like 6 months to like, so you mind is out of it, reread it, and then see how much stuff you need to take out, because you always have to take something out.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to revise where you're going, and Acolyte, my God, that could have. Maybe it would have worked if
Boy.
they had...
That died in the writing room, just like many movies have in the past.
Well, the thing is, you would have had to have a writing room for it to die there. I swear to God, they hired some 6th graders to write that stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, who wants to write a Star Wars story? And like 20 kids were like, yeah, and they're like, all of you get to do it, surprise.
So
I'm like the second Star Wars the second Star Wars sequel that they did was literally on Kathleen Kennedy, because he gave Johnson the free reign to do what he wants. She didn't interrupt. She didn't manhandle
Nobody
him
interrupted,
at
which
all.
is like
No one interrupted.
Like
this.
there has to be some
Isn't that what
connection
you have
to love
producers
of the
for?
story. There has to be someone who passionately cares, and this guy just was like, I'm gonna do a story.
I'm gonna do my thing.
That's great, bud, but like we need to care about it. You have to engage the audience, or it's gonna die in the first 10 minutes. And what happened? I think it died in like 7 minutes. It's amazing. It's like, what are we saying here? We're just gonna rewrite all of science fiction in 5 minutes? Oh,
I mean, science fiction.
it's so silly.
The good quality and low quality one has seen rewrites like that, but still, rewrites. And this is like, they had to, like, I don't envy him. I mean, I'm split. I'm torn about the Rise of Skywalker, because on one
before we
side,
dive too far into that, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there is an interview with Abrams and with some people that talked to him after the actual premiere of the third movie. And there's many scenes throughout that movie that he is heard by other people in the premiere saying, "What the fuck?" Multiple, what W2? Sorry, Mom. W2F and also very grumpy over scenes that he never shot as a director. This is just reshoots that Disney did for the third one. Mostly scenes towards the end of the movie.
They were reshooting Abrams up to the last day, pretty much.
Right, and he had nothing to do with most of the reshoots.
Yeah,
These are all things Disney did behind his back, and so he got to watch them for the first time in a theater like the rest of us, and he was very upset. And I was like, "That right
his
there."
Name is at the credits at the end.
And that's why I think so many people blame him. They're like, "Oh, it's your fault." I'm like, "No, dude. I personally would never blame that man. He wrote a one story, and Disney just got in the way of the rest of it. And I can't honestly blame him for any of it, because I don't know what his story is anymore, because they got in the way.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of blame him because
I can't be mad at Abrams ever. I can be a little grumpy with Star Trek stuff that he did, but even then, it was actually. It brought Star Trek back for a lot of people
did, but
didn't.
It wasn't his fault that the
yet.
second one kind of bit.
Yeah, it was just bad.
Yeah, don't
fair enough.
Don't redo one of the best Star Trek movies. You don't need to redo the movies. Make your own stuff.
Exactly. They stood on their own to begin with for a reason.
Chris, I've put us into a couple of cues here. I'm going to add a few more.
What I was going to say is that I still blame Abrams because he redid New Hope. And that is
you can blame him
I'm
for
sorry,
that.
I don't care what kind of a story arc you've reimagined yourself for the next two, but you didn't get to do both of them.
Well, I wasn't mad about the redoing part, because to me, at least the way I saw it, at least the way I watched a lot of my nieces and nephews approach Star Wars, which was they didn't have the prequels. They're of the newer generation. They're 10 years past that, and they all got involved in Star Wars because of that movie, regardless of whether it was good or bad. And I was like, I can't be mad about that. That's cool.
I mean, I kind of can, because it has episode 7.
Weeble?
I'm sorry, but I got Weeble. But I'm sorry, if it's still connected to a franchise, it has a number in it, then there are earlier movies, and it's not like they've been gone in the past. They're accessible, they've been revised, they don't look ancient.
I mean, they kind of do, dude. I've tried to make them watch Empire, and they don't care. But trying to make little cousins watch Empire, they're not about it, bud. They don't want to see this old. Oh my old cousin wants to watch this movie. No, dude, it doesn't happen. I'd like to believe that, but
what
it
you
just
do
is
with
not
that,
the reality.
Though, what you do with that is you wait till they do one of the, like, every 5 years when they put them back out in the theaters.
Exactly. Yeah, you will go watch them as the event that they bring.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Or when they do the if you're in a city that does the orchestra version is
Oh,
super
yeah.
cool.
They just did that here, and I didn't know about it.
I miss them every time. It drives me nuts.
Well, it turns out they sell out, so that's why they don't.
Yeah, they still. I always see like two of my buddies. He's like, "Oh, I just got my wife. We got little tickets to go see the thing in with the orchestra." I'm like, "Cool, thanks for the heads up, bud." Like, I'm sure she wants to go to that with you, but don't tell me. He's like, "No, you're right. I should have just invited you."
We went to a concert in Chicago where they did the music from Star Trek with a live orchestra, but because they couldn't.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one? Which orchestra?
Okay, no, you're right. You're right. Which Star Trek? No, you're right.
All
you're
of
right.
them. From the series, they did all the music. But it was a touring orchestra from Poland, and they couldn't bring the full orchestra, so what they did was they pre-recorded a lot of it, and then the conductor basically directed it off the computer and the maybe 50 members of the orchestra who were present, and did it with video. The thing was brilliant. He did a fantastic
That's almost
job.
more Star Trek-y.
It was
really
very
cool.
Star Trek-y.
Yeah, very techy. Yeah, that's dope.
And then they tied it into the visuals from the show. It was
our
just terrific.
music schools are one of the greatest in the region.
Oh no, that was really good, really innovative for its time.
Yep.
I was just sharing with some friends.
Music tech. I know a couple of people who are like from the music academies and stuff like that, and
they're very good programs overseas.
Do amazing stuff.
I was just watching, just out of pure nostalgia and fun. I was rewatching the clip of I believe it's the one that the big symphony that does the Halo one, and they do like every Halo in like 5 minutes or 7 minutes or so.
That's actually a
tribute to Halo
thing here.
I want to say it's was it one of the Nordic countries. I don't remember which one.
There's
I want to say
a
it
touring
was
orchestra in Japan that goes around and does Final Fantasy XIV music.
Oh, that's
and they
so
have
cool.
come here to the States.
Oh, I bet.
And again, it just sells out like crazy.
Just for fun. More recently, I think last year, I think in November, December, so late in the year last year, I didn't know about it until it was the night of. But my grandparents had apparently bought tickets to go see two cellos.
Oh, really?
My grandma did it because one of the musicians in two cellos is does a lot of classical cello music, whatever. This and that outside of two cellos, and she knew him from that, and so she thought she bought tickets to that. And mid-evening, around 9 p.m., whatever, my parents were like, "Oh yeah, they're out to see something two cellos, like some professional, whatever." I'm like, "No, that's not what they think it is. That's two dudes doing awesome music on cellos, and they just cover tons of awesome bands. They cover Green Day, metal, industrial, punk rock. They cover video games. They cover classical music. All of it in one. It's one crazy night of just every genre you could think of.
I was listening to him the other day doing Thunderstruck.
Yeah. So that's such a good one.
Let's get some AC/DC here. I have us queued up for some Terran ships, Chris.
Yeah, I saw.
It was cool. I was like, I'm so jealous right now. And they're like, oh, they had an extra ticket too. Like, oh. So I was like, who did they take? They're like, oh, I think they took their driver. See two cellos, they're fantastic.
When you see two cellos.
So sick.
I'm getting surprised by the number of good concerts they've got here in Indianapolis versus Chicago. I think it may
You're in a big city that gets good stuff, though.
Yeah, but I used to be in Chicago. I think
that's true. Yeah,
but
Chicago gets like 3 big festivals a year that are all like world known.
This is true, but if I want to go down and see the symphony orchestra in Chicago, I should realistically expect to spend $400 a seat. If I do it here and I don't mind sitting towards the back, I can get them for $30 a seat, and the orchestra, for the most part, is good. I say for the most part because I took Qantas from the game to see it. He lives out here to see New World Symphony, Dvorak.
Oh, that's fantastic! Yeah,
no,
nice.
No, it was not.
That's so cool.
It was not fantastic.
What? Why?
I've never heard a French horn muck it up so bad, but you know how we've got all the French horn solo sections?
Yes.
They were high school level bad.
Oh
Oh
no.
wow.
Yeah, and at the end
That's tough.
I gave a standing ovation to the director because Qantas is like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "That poor man has to go
Working hard
home and
tonight.
know that he did that."
You gotta own it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so tough. I've heard a couple like that with the San Francisco one or the Bay Area, whatever the one for. I heard one for the Nutcracker that the Bay Area did,
How
and it
can
was
you
just
muck
like
up the
I'd seen it
Nutcracker?
multiple times, and one of them was just really bad. I was like, oh no.
How do you mess up
Like,
the Nutcracker?
I don't know. I don't know who they got, but this one guy just, when one messes up, everybody sounds
Yeah,
bad.
that's
So,
true. That is true.
which is tough. But I was, and I'd only gone to it so many times because school was it always would invite us, so I'd always go through school. And then I went with my grandma a couple times, and one of them was really bad. And we're like, oh no, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. And that's how that kind of thing goes. So like you may not hear it if you're on the stage, but
Oh,
boy, do we hear it in the
no!
crowd.
Everybody heard. Everybody heard what was going on, and
Especially
unfortunately,
French horn.
yeah, with the solo French horn messes it up
Yeah.
repeatedly. But the first half of the show, they do two breaks, or sorry, one break, an intermission. Everybody goes out and gets a drink. But the first half was a bassoon soloist doing a modern piece. This was not good. It was equally not good. I'm sorry, but you cannot get down, get funky with a bassoon. But she was trying, and it was not a good performance either. Again, good high school level, maybe. College level, no, definitely not. Professional level,
It's got to kill if it's high or if it's college rather, and it's got to be exceptional if it's pro. But
then we went back.
You can't do a test.
We were back
on
when was back there? Maybe 2 months ago, and they were doing Grieg's Piano Concerto in A minor, which is possibly my favorite piano. No, it's absolutely my favorite piano concerto, and their pianist was phenomenal. I'm still thinking how good he was. Absolutely professional. Just one of the best performances I've ever heard. So, for everyone that's just awful, there's 10 that are phenomenal. And like I said, for $60, $30 if it's last day tickets, works really well. Chris, I've got us queued up for a couple of Terran things, but nothing's popping. Is there is there a patrol that does Terrans?
Patrol?
I don't know of a patrol that does Terrans.
I think there is one in the Mirror Universe queue. It's the what was it called?
I gotta go help my buddy.
Okay, go help your buddy. It's good talking to you, though.
Yeah, good evening for you guys. Good night.
You too. Take care. Have fun with that
Good
computer.
to share some music stories.
Yes,
I hope he does. I'm so excited for him. He's this is wild. He's been running multiple converters on his little connector to his graphics card to make sure his screen is still supported because he's been using a CRT for the last I shouldn't have to tell how many years. He finally got a flat screen or a flat panel that his clan or his real life work buddy or ex work buddies all pitched in and got him for his birthday.
Wow.
Today, but he's been running a CRT since on modern graphics cards and consoles.
No.
So I'm like, I'm just offended that I even game with you.
We will, Chris.
Stop it.
Yep.
So I'll go help him out with his audio. Have a good night, guys. I love you.
You too. Take care. Be safe.
See ya. I was gonna say there's a patrol, but since we already got the
I was just about to go for the patrol.
One.
Was that the
one at the very bottom?
The Khonshu, right?
Khonshu, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this didn't pop, we were gonna go try that one.
I haven't actually run it, but I did enjoy it originally, so it's not
maybe we'll start running some unusual patrols.
We might. It could be fun.
It could be. Just spend a day and do all the patrols.
All the patrols. Well, Oh god, I'm so lazy today. Technically, today's a working day, but I took a day off because yesterday was a holiday,
Oh yeah.
public holiday, so
Well,
I'm not working a lot this month, and
I'm
I'm just
working way
waiting
more
for my
than I should
vacation.
be. I was supposed to be off yesterday, but I knew we had to get a proposal out the door, which was pretty ready to go. Just need a
Come
last minute
on.
take, and all of a sudden, it's 6 hours. I'm still there.
It's illegal.
What?
Overworking yourself when you're supposed to be resting.
Yeah. Well, so am I in the office right now? No, I am not. Am I going to go back to bed when we're done here? Yes, I am. It's a nice rainy day. I'm just going to sit around and goof off. Exactly, Cliff. Lazy day. Not entirely true. I have four blogs to write. On the changes
This is not
in...
work related.
Oh, no, they're work related. It's on the changes in Canadian laws regarding the decontamination of waste product. Because they're changing the
Ew.
laws in Canada.
Deep Space Nine is under attack.
In a good way.
There goes your retirement.
Yeah, but, pay is nice. Pay is nice. And the thing is, because
Darn
it's
it.
not my forte, it's not my field at all. American law, I got. Canadian, not so much. That's when Mr. AI becomes our friend. Hey, give me 1,000 words on this, and then at least I know what we're talking about.
Does the Mr. AI give you the appropriate information, the correct one?
Well, I find that basically templates out my outline, gives me a guidepost, and I can go from there. And once I've got that guidepost, I can start researching, filling it in, getting more accurate data, blah, 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 blah.
With the emphasis on blah.
Well, yeah, it's 1,500 words on that. It's going to be blah.
Even
Cliff, the
Blair.
software AI is currently on a 3-stream streak. Congratulations, Cliff. We appreciate it. See, we got 4 portals. I'm aiming for the 5th, so we get our bare minimum here.
Done one now. I did run through the kit bashes done by the recent I mean, not kit bashes, but like they did the 2 versions of Nova that got completely redone.
Mm-hmm.
Nova class. I've actually gone through them today. I was doing the Space Barbie shots from my Twitter, but
Yeah, I noticed that you've been doing some Space Barbie stuff there. Looking pretty...
yeah, it's just feeling like it. I do like doing beauty shots of ships.
Yeah,
Thank
now
you
that
for
Z
giving
Films
the-
isn't doing them, it's too bad because he had some beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I get that his real life was kind of like
I think he had a
Going for it.
baby.
he had a baby. Yeah,
Yeah. And he was getting grief from people in the game, which just, don't do that,
I don't
guys.
understand it. Like, but
Don't do that, people. You're better than that.
like people enjoy this content. Why?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why would people give him grief.
Well, I know in part because Star Trek Online was giving him access to ships so that he could do that stuff. I don't know if they were giving him the ships or just giving him access, but the thing is, he did a great job.
Didn't you like get them on Tribble so he didn't like own them physically?
Right. I believe that was how it was, but still people get their
Getting them on Tribble
undies
is
in a
nothing.
knot. Don't get your undies in a knot. It's just a game, folks.
There are always some kind of people that kind of like to ruin it for everyone else.
Yep, which they did. I still love his work. But now, of course,
Yeah.
it's a lot harder than it used to be. Let's see, Obi-Wan says, yay, my buddy's new PC is working perfectly. So, congrats.
Something
We've done quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
massive is coming. Yes.
Loken time. They won't see me coming.
Yeah, I still have a PC in the garage that needs to go into the shop and get built, because it got messed up. It's not high on the priorities. I have so much on the priorities, I'm not even looking at it. Keep finding other things to do instead of the priorities.
Lower your defenses and surrender.
Knock down ship a little bit.
I've been punching through SG1 continuously. Now I'm like around season 5.
Somebody else is doing that too right now.
I'm surprised how. I mean, I used to remember SG1 as a kind of like funky, not very down to earth, a little bit teen oriented TV series,
definitely.
but it kind of grows on me nevertheless. It still has some. It does a few things that Star Trek didn't do right, or like they're doing similar episodes or like similar themes that Star Trek has done, but they kind of did it better. I don't know if it's just. I'm not biased because I like both franchises for different things. Like I like Star Trek for starships, and I like SG1 for like the ground stuff, like which is funny. Because I like the idea of like all those ancient locations that they visit, and the concept of an ancient race that was so advanced that built the Stargates and stuff like that. My imagination was always like started going crazy when I was just thinking about the potential repercussions of such a race existing.
Let me interrupt for a second. Cliff, no, it's the motherboard. It is not the power supply. It is not the graphics card. It is the motherboard that, when my husband was installing it, now admittedly he was quite ill and probably not the steadiest of hand, but he bent the pins.
So, like, probably my favorite series from the Stargate would be the Universe one. I still can't.
That's interesting, because that is not the most beloved of all of them.
And wrongly so. I think it was the most ambitious attempt at doing a Star Trek Stargate series that actually was more based about the people and the human condition than any other. It was less goofy, it was more grounded, it was more adult oriented. Oh, what's the worst? Oh, you mean the motherboard?
Yes.
Yeah, that is pain. Because that's probably the most expensive aspect to
Yep.
side of the graphics card
Well,
these days, anyway.
I hope the graphic card's good. It's been 2 years since he started building it. His internet went out and he decided to rebuild a computer, which is fine, or to build a new computer. And he had the money to do it, but he wanted to do it himself. And like I said, he was getting quite ill at that point. Well, I don't know if I could make a new PC the level I think he was trying to make this at. But he wasn't a gamer, so I don't know. I'm thinking of taking it back to the shop and going, hey, what can we salvage from here? What do I need to buy new? What can we turn it into? And can I please get a better case, because this is an ugly case.
Oh.
DT put together a new computer, and it's in one of the pyramid glass cases. If you've seen those things, they are gorgeous.
I've been in a Borg Cube case that was just like, oh my god.
The Cherry Tree, yeah. Well, the thing is, Cherry Tree, who we worked with on multiple occasions at conventions, didn't give us one. They gave it to a couple of different Stoke gamers.
Rude.
Yep, so not buying one of theirs. Thank you very much.
That's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the concept of like a pyramid or a... Ooh, I've seen I don't know if it was a case for a computer, but I did see... No, it was, actually.
Yeah.
That looked like the Stargate Raw ship.
Really?
The one from the first film. Yep.
The thing with 3D printing these days is you could basically take any cubicle-shaped PC case and turn it into a cube if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You just need the outline of the box so you've got the structure in it.
Yep. So the concept of like having a ship, no, it's not ship, but like a computer that looks like a ship or something.
Oh, you could do that too. Just have to make it big enough. You know, turn the nacelles into a couple of fans to cool it down.
You know, and I did like, one of the things I didn't probably like about the original Stargate, the SG-1s, is that they made the ships look cheaper. Like, really cheap. Like,
yeah,
I know they went to CGI because it was cheaper than to build practical models and then build them in angles and stuff like that, and I get that. production costs and all that, and it wasn't the most expensive TV shows at the time.
No, definitely not.
And I really hated that they made the big Hattag motherships only have 3 sides. So they didn't have a base of a pyramid. They couldn't land on the pyramid because they had a triangle as a base. And they always showcased them in an angle that showed them on the side, so you couldn't actually properly see that it has only 3 sides.
Well, you're not going to advertise that you've got it with 3 sides.
Well, the thing is that we have shots of that ship landing on the pyramid that I'm like, how does that work? It has only 3 sides. It would chop off a piece of the pyramid. Like, excuse me.
Elric says use the nacelles as radiators. That's a thought.
Oh my god. But would that work? That would be one of the ship models that have them very closely to the...
Well, you'd have to reconfigure everything. You'd definitely have to get a bigger model, but that could be a lot of fun. It's not high on the priorities right now. I think a new air conditioner is high on the priorities. I don't use air conditioning at all. I hate it. Can't stand it. But I think it's something I need to have for the house. And the one they've currently got is way too small. It's fine for a bedroom. And it's supported on a couple of logs that are heavily rotted out. And I'm thinking, this is an accident waiting to happen.
Yep. Something better, something more reliable. Especially if the weather goes worse. You need to start using it. Because even like the dog's comfort or something like it.
Yeah, that's the only reason I ever turn it on, is because the dogs are miserable.
Yeah, that's why I have an AC unit standing in my living room.
I have 25 trees in my backyard, so the whole back of the house, which faces west, which is where we get the most intense sun, is very comfortable.
That's nice.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I have only one side-facing apartment, which is facing south.
Oh.
You can imagine how
my house
lovely and sunny it gets.
I had my house facing south. I will not do that again. I learned that lesson. Great for the plants,
I didn't have much of a choice, really, with my budgeting.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean, it's still better than the previous apartment I had after my grandma, because it was facing south, but on the 8th floor. There was literally nothing covering it. I had the sun 12 hours of the day. It was angled. The apartment block was angled so badly, I had sun all the time, right in my face.
I figure with the I figure with the air conditioner, I'm going to wait till the end of the season. When they go on sale.
Oh yeah, the prices will go down.
Yeah, the prices will go down, and they won't have any installations to do. So I can wait until October to have a new one put in.
Yeah, totally. So when I got this one, it's on the 3rd floor, and I have trees. Secondly, I have a 90 degrees neighboring apartment block that is as tall as mine, which gives me cover from like 1 p.m. until the rest of the day when the sun goes over. The building is a bit differently angled, so I get shorter exposure. So with the stand-in AC unit that's sitting in the living room, it's practically bliss now.
Yeah, I know that the boys ran the airco while I was in Vegas, because I checked with my son. It's like, yeah, we turned on the air conditioner right away. You need a new air conditioner.
Nice.
But nah, the only place it gets really bad is this room where I'm broadcasting right now, because it's the smallest room in the house, and while it has a window, it's not enough when you've got the computer generating heat and then the 2 monitors, soon to be 3 monitors.
Oh my god.
So, but the thing is, I could technically, once Id's moved on to wherever Id's going to go, hopefully he finds a place that works for him, I could easily take the PC itself and put it in the hallway where it's very cool. And that would prevent a lot of the heat in this room. But this room's small, so I can make it acoustically isolated a lot easier than the big rooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, a ceiling fan? Maybe it might help.
I could put one in here. This is the only room in the house that's got a normal ceiling. All the others have got the vaulted ceilings where you can put in ceiling fans easily. But normally at this point, I just take the fan, regular fan, stick it in the doorway and bring in air from outside, and it's toasty comfortable in here. I have 5 hot days a week. Or a year. That's it.
That's fair.
Alric says my 7900 XT makes a good space heater in the winter. Doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really comfortable up here in the winter. Adjacent to this room is the loft, and behind the loft, because this is a very steeply pitched roof, they put a hole in the wall, put a door there, and made a little hidden kids' room off to one side. So it's kind of a, think Harry Potter type room. Very small, very tiny, but just big enough for me to put in one of the queen-size air mattresses. So if I wind up with it being super cold downstairs during the winter, it occurred to me, just go upstairs. You've got a little tiny room, maybe 80 square feet, just big enough for a queen-size mattress, you, the dogs, and it'll be warm up there. Looking forward to that. But it doesn't get that cold here. It doesn't get that hot here. It doesn't get that cold here. Anyway, I'm going to crash. I'm going to go back to bed for a while. So on behalf of the Dark Mom Consortium, I want to thank everybody who joined us here for Moopsy in the Morning today. I'm going to go feed the doggos and go snooze for a little bit before I start working on my really exciting papers on Canadian law regarding the decontamination of biologically contaminated waste product. Woo!
God.
Woohoo!
Yippee!
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful day and stay
Hey,
moopsome.
Moopsome.